I still remember the exact moment everything changed. It was a Tuesday afternoon in downtown Lagos, and I was standing outside a boutique I could never afford to enter. My name is Amara, and I sold oranges on the street corner near Allen Avenue. That day, the sun was brutal, and my basket was still half full. I had made only 800 naira since morning, barely enough for transport home. My stomach growled loudly, reminding me I had skipped breakfast again. I watched wealthy people walk past me like I was invisible, their designer shoes clicking against the pavement. I was nobody to them. Just another poor girl trying to survive in a city that did not care. Then I saw him. A tall man in an expensive navy suit stepped out of a black Range Rover. Even from where I stood, I could see the gold watch on his wrist catching the sunlight. Everything about him screamed money and power. The man moved quickly, phone pressed to his ear, his face tight with irritation. His driver followed closely behind, trying to keep up. I watched as he waved his hand in the air, arguing with whoever was on the other end of that call. His voice carried across the street, sharp and commanding. People moved out of his way automatically, like he owned the sidewalk itself. I had seen men like him before. Men who never looked down, never noticed people like me. I turned back to my oranges, arranging them carefully in my basket. That was when I heard it. A soft thud. Something hitting the concrete. I glanced over and saw a black leather wallet lying on the ground, right where the man had been standing seconds ago. He was already 20 feet away, still shouting into his phone. His driver was looking at traffic, trying to find an opening to cross. Neither of them noticed what had fallen. My heart started pounding. I looked at the wallet, then at the man walking away. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Rich people lost things all the time, and they never missed them. But something pulled at me. I set my basket down carefully and walked toward the wallet. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. It was heavy, made of soft leather that felt foreign in my rough palms. I opened it slowly, just enough to peek inside. My breath caught. There were stacks of crisp 1,000 naira notes, neatly arranged. More money than I had seen in my entire life. There were also credit cards with gold lettering and a driver's license. I read the name printed on it. Maxwell Okonkwo. Even his name sounded rich. I closed the wallet quickly, my mind racing. I could take this money. I could pay my rent, buy food, maybe even send something to my mother in the village. Nobody would know. The thought sat in my head like a stone. I stood there on that hot sidewalk, holding a wallet full of money that could change my life. My stomach growled again, louder this time. I thought about the bread I could not afford this morning. The school fees I owed for my younger brother. The landlord who threatened to throw me out next week if I did not pay. All of that could be solved right now. I looked down at the wallet in my hands. Then I looked at the man, Maxwell Okonkwo, now almost a block away. I took a deep breath and made my decision. I closed the wallet completely and started walking after him. My legs moved before my brain could change my mind. I pushed through the crowd, my worn slippers slapping against the concrete. People bumped into me, annoyed. I did not care. I had to return this wallet. I walked faster, trying to close the distance between us. But the crowd was thick, and I was small. People blocked my path constantly. I tried to call out, but my voice was too quiet. Nobody heard me over the noise of traffic and street vendors. I saw Maxwell Okonkwo stop at a traffic light, still on his phone. This was my chance. I squeezed between two women carrying shopping bags and broke into a run. My heart hammered in my chest. I was getting closer. Just a few more steps. Then his driver turned around and saw me. His eyes went wide. He saw a poor street girl running toward his boss, clutching something in her hands. He did not see honesty. He saw danger. Before I could explain, before I could even open my mouth, he stepped in front of me with his arms spread wide. "Stop right there," he barked. His voice was loud enough to make people turn and stare. I froze. The wallet was still in my hands, held out in front of me like an offering. But the driver did not see it that way. He saw a threat. Maxwell Okonkwo turned around, finally pulling the phone away from his ear. His eyes landed on me, then dropped to the wallet in my hands. His face changed instantly. The irritation became fury. "You," he said, his voice cold and sharp. "What are you doing with that?" I tried to speak, but fear closed my throat. I stood there like a statue, my hands still extended. More people stopped to watch. Phones came out. I could feel their eyes on me, judging me before I could say a single word. The driver grabbed my arm roughly. I tried to pull away, but his grip was too strong. "Sir, she was running after you," the driver said. "I think she tried to steal your wallet." "No," I finally managed to whisper. But nobody heard me. Maxwell Okonkwo stepped closer, his jaw tight. His eyes scanned me from head to toe, taking in my faded brown t-shirt and jeans, my dusty slippers, my empty basket left behind on the corner. He saw exactly what everyone else saw. A poor girl who did not belong. "How did you get that?" he demanded. "I found it," I said, my voice shaking. "You dropped it." "I was trying to give it back." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You expect me to believe that? You were chasing me down the street, trying to return something you stole." The crowd murmured in agreement. I felt my face burn with shame. I looked around desperately, hoping someone would defend me. But all I saw were accusing faces. "Someone call the police," Maxwell Okonkwo said loudly. I felt my knees go weak. This was not supposed to happen. I did the right thing. I tried to help. And now I was being called a thief. The driver pulled the wallet from my hands roughly. Maxwell Okonkwo opened it immediately, checking inside. His face relaxed slightly when he saw everything was still there. All the money, all the cards. Nothing was missing. But instead of softening, his expression hardened even more. "So you did not have time to take anything yet," he said. "That is the only reason it is all still here." "No, sir," I said, tears filling my eyes. "I was not trying to steal. I just wanted to return it." "You chased me for 5 minutes just to return it?" He shook his head. "Do I look stupid to you?" The crowd pressed closer. I heard whispers. "Thief. Shameless. Street girl." Each word felt like a slap. I wanted to run, but the driver still held my arm. I wanted to scream, but my voice had disappeared. I just stood there, trapped in a nightmare I could not wake up from. Maxwell Okonkwo pulled out his phone. "I am calling the police," he said. "You people think you can take what does not belong to you just because someone has money. I will make sure you learn your lesson. Please," I finally managed to say louder. "Please just check. There are cameras everywhere. You can see I am telling the truth." He paused, his finger hovering over his phone. The driver looked uncertain for the first time. A security guard from the nearby boutique stepped forward. "Sir," the guard said carefully. "She might be right. We do have cameras. Maybe we should check before calling the police." Maxwell Okonkwo looked annoyed, but something in his face shifted. "Fine," he said sharply. "Show me." We walked to the boutique entrance, the driver still gripping my arm like I might run. The security guard led us to a small office where monitors showed different angles of the street. The guard rewound the footage slowly. I watched the screen, praying it would show the truth. And then it did. There on the monitor, clear as day, was Maxwell Okonkwo walking quickly down the street, phone to his ear. Then the wallet slipping from his pocket and hitting the ground. Him walking away without noticing. Then me. I appeared on screen seconds later, looking confused. The camera caught me picking up the wallet, opening it briefly, then closing it again. It showed my face clearly. There was no greed in my expression. Only concern. Then it showed me running after him, trying to get his attention. Being blocked by the crowd. Finally reaching him, only to be grabbed by the driver. The entire truth played out in less than 2 minutes. The room went silent. Even the street noise outside seemed to fade away. Maxwell Okonkwo stared at the screen, his face draining of color. The driver released my arms slowly, stepping back. I rubbed the spot where his fingers had dug into my skin. Nobody spoke. The evidence was undeniable. I had done exactly what I said. I had tried to return what was not mine. Maxwell Okonkwo turned to face me. For the first time since this nightmare began, he truly looked at me. Not at my clothes or my worn slippers. But at me. "I am sorry," he said quietly. The words sounded strange coming from him. I could tell he was not used to apologizing. I did not respond. I could not. My throat was still tight with unshed tears. The crowd outside had grown. People were still recording on their phones. But now the story had changed. Now I was not a thief. I was the honest girl who had been wrongly accused. The security guard cleared his throat. "Sir, maybe you should make this right." Maxwell Okonkwo nodded slowly, reaching into his wallet that he pulled out a stack of notes. "Here," he said, holding them out to me. "For your trouble." I stared at the money. It was probably more than I made in 2 months. But something inside me twisted. I shook my head. "I do not want your money," I said quietly. "I just wanted to return what was yours." His hand froze in the air. The driver looked shocked. Even the security guard seemed surprised. "You do not want it?" Maxwell Okonkwo asked. "Most people would take it." "I am not most people," I said, my voice growing stronger. "I am poor, yes. But I am not dishonest. And I am not a thief." I looked him straight in the eye. "You saw me and decided I was guilty because of how I look. You did not ask questions. You did not listen. You just assumed." He lowered his hand slowly, the money forgotten. "You are right," he said softly. I did. The crowd outside began to disperse. The drama was over. But I was not finished. "Being poor does not make someone a criminal," I continued. "And being rich does not make you better than anyone else. I could have kept your wallet. I could have taken every single naira and disappeared. But I chose not to. Not because I did not need the money. I do. Desperately. But because it was not mine." Maxwell Okonkwo looked down at his expensive shoes. For the first time, he seemed small despite his height and wealth. I picked up my basket of oranges that someone had brought inside. I did not say goodbye. I just walked out of that boutique with my head held high. Behind me, I heard the driver say something quietly to his boss. I did not turn around to hear it. I had said everything I needed to say. My dignity was worth more than his money. I walked back to my corner and set down my basket. My hands were still shaking, but not from fear anymore. From anger, from relief, from exhaustion. I had been humiliated in front of dozens of people. Accused of something I did not do. Grabbed and restrained like a criminal. All because I tried to do the right thing. Part of me wished I had just walked away when I saw that wallet on the ground. My life would have been simpler. But another part of me, the part that mattered most, was glad I had tried. I had proven something important today. Not to Maxwell Okonkwo or his driver or the crowd. But to myself. I was Amara. I sold oranges on a street corner. I was poor and hungry and struggling. But I was honest. And nobody could take that away from me. Not even a billionaire who thought his money made him judge and jury. That evening, as I counted my small earnings from the day, I thought about everything that had happened. The lesson was simple but powerful. We live in a world where people judge by appearances. Where wealth equals respect and poverty equals suspicion. where a poor girl returning a wallet is seen as less believable than a rich man losing one. But integrity is not about what you have. It is about what you do when nobody is watching. It is about choosing honesty even when dishonesty would be easier. Maxwell Okonkwo had learned something too, I hoped. That assumptions can be wrong. That power does not equal wisdom. That sometimes the people you look down on are the ones with the most to teach you. I never saw him again. But I carried that day with me forever. Not as a story of humiliation, but as proof that my character was stronger than my circumstances. And that was worth more than any wallet full of cash. If it were you, will you still collect the money offered by Mr. Maxwell Okonkwo after such humiliation? Please do well to like and subscribe to this channel. Watch out for the next story.